Welcome to Home Dad Chat, brought to you by the National At-Home Dad Network. My name is Brock.
My name is Danny.
And we are here to talk about life as stay-at-home dads. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
No, I don't want much. I even love handmade crafts made of macaroni. Come on now, you should know me. Times I might eat too much. No worry about my weight, got the dad bod rocking on me. Sketches on my feet, cargo shorts look good on me. I'm a dad, that's what I do.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. It's going to be an interesting one tonight. We have a third wheel in the situation, but we'll have that taken care of here in just a minute. Oh, did I lose him? I lost. Where'd he go?
Fail.
Come back, Chewy. What happened here?
Come here.
There you are.
Okay, there he is.
What happened?
No, I was laughing so hard I hit leave meeting. Yeah, I was just shooting for the button, and my mouse moved, and I hit leave meeting, and I was laughing. I laughed so hard I couldn't even log back in. It was some like nice. That's good, Danny. Well done. Are we recording?
We are. It's okay though.
Edit all this out. Don't make me look unprofessional, Brock. That's some quality editing. That's the quality editing.
Oh, no, last week was some quality editing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, goodness. Anyway, so yeah, welcome back to the show. Tonight we have a special guest because we're going to talk about a very special subject in the fact that all of us dads are leaving here in about 2 months to go enjoy a weekend away and to learn how to be even better dads than we already are. But as Danny and I spoke of a while back, it's always good to set your partner up for success when heading out to HomeDadCon.
Yep. That was, I believe, before Cincinnati, and it was
Maybe.
a very timely podcast for you, sir, who was going to, abandon your entire family for 4 or 5 days. I can't remember. Do we talk about that? Is that still the bad times? We don't talk about that.
Well, I mean, it's going to be about that long this time, but this time I'm not really doing anything other than enjoying the time away. So I'm not really working.
You are.
Well,
if you said, and I'm not exact quoting, but someone said in our board Slack, hey, if there's a first timers meeting, I'd like to be involved in that.
That to me is fun though.
And yeah. But our response was, cool. What do you need to do to take care of the meeting? Basically, you're in charge. That's what I read in the reply you got from one of our members.
Which is fine.
Well, I thought it was hilarious.
But Keith actually made it even easier. He's like, well, we're just going to send out a first timers email. What do you want it to be? What do you want it to be in it? I'm like, oh, well, shoot. First things first at the top of the list is going to be to listen to this episode so that people know.
Quality.
Just bump that listenership up.
I don't think I will have time to be a part of the first timers meeting, but I really would like to. And I think it's the same reason why you would want to, just because that for me, it's that initial excitement.
Yeah.
And seeing people that, I mean, we describe it and we talk about it and we listen to the convention. It's so great. The community is so great. And you just don't get it, but you see them walking around like, what? So many cargo shorts. I've never seen this many cargo shorts in one place. Like, yep. And they're probably all dads.
Easily.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's how you tell them apart from everybody else.
I really think it is. That's how I see it.
That or dad t-shirts. That's the other one.
Dad t-shirts, yeah.
Everybody's professing they're the greatest dad.
Good dad jokes, yeah.
You know, that's the thing.
Ever.
Greatest dad, yeah. Your kids think you're the world's greatest dad. That works, so yeah.
My kids do most of the time.
Most of the time, there you go. Yeah.
Most of the time.
But anyway, no, I just thought that especially since this week we didn't have a guest coming on, so we will the following weeks. And so
Shoplift?
Well, the guest that we had was a speaker for HomeDadCon.
Oh.
Instead, I'm bringing in my partner to talk about the things that we have done for being successful when I go to HomeDadCon, and Danny's gonna give his bit into this whole thing as well.
So AKA chop liver.
Chop liver.
We don't love Brock because he's smart and talks pretty. Sometimes he says things he doesn't
I
mean.
said last week I was Pinky, remember? Like,
I love him for the beard and the occasional kilt.
Sure.
There's that. Anyway.
Well, I just want to point it out. Maybe we should introduce our guest if no one knows and they're not watching the video.
True, yeah. Well, you'd have to go all the way back to like episode like 2 or 3, maybe 5. I don't remember. It's way back there in the single digits to actually have heard her first. But I have my wife with us tonight, Corie, and we talk about her all the time, of course, on the show, and you name drop her. So, but I figured that I would bring my breadwinning mama on the show tonight to share prep secrets and hacks for going to HomeDadCon.
Hello.
That's
I
a
will bring all the
great idea.
sass and
No
recommendations.
recommendation, sure. Not all the
Yeah.
sass. Just gonna say there's a lot of sass in this podcast, this room.
Okay, well, I'll bring extra sass.
Oh, sure. The
There's
spicy.
Always sass on this podcast. Usually he's giving it to me is what
Deserved.
So.
You need extra sass.
What?
Yeah.
What's really awful is my kids are really picking up on it. And yeah. I mean, as teenagers, you're supposed to, right? In my opinion, I could be wrong. But as teenagers, you're at that point where you're not a kid anymore, but you're not an adult yet. And you're starting to kind of stretch away from your parents. And a bit of that is, especially in my household, because I love sass, I think it's great, is your kids kind of sassing you, giving you a little lip, talking back to you. It's been hilarious for me too, because it is definitely the seeds you sow are the plants you reap. And it's great, but it's just like I was like, we were working out this morning, and I was telling me, because it's going to take me. You guys should be fine. You can get up and just you can probably shake this off, take a hot shower, and you'll be fine tomorrow. But I'm going to be a little more sore. And my 14-year-old goes, yeah, that's because we don't have arthritis, Dad. And just deadpan, dry as you can be. Didn't even blink. Didn't even smile. Just dropped it. And I'm like, okay, I earned that. That's
Just walk by, slap to the face.
That's right. Just back of the head with that reset button right there on the back of your head. Just
no kidding.
No,
man, no respect.
No.
Now, if my 10-year-old did that to me, ooh,
well, it's the house you make too. Because I wish my 10-year-old could be more smart aleck.
Ours is.
He's there. Yeah. He's definitely
He's
there.
Yeah,
that's you.
And the 7-year-old.
Thanks, honey.
Yeah,
it's not me, it's you. Anyway, this is.
I blame his mom.
This is what was happening. This is what was happening before we hit record. Is just the back and forth banter of the two of us. So
it should be.
We'll handle our marriage counseling stuff later. Let's get into the topic at hand here, so that we get things figured out. So you've been going to HomeDadCon for how many years, Danny?
8, 9, something like that. 9. Yeah. Okay. I don't remember. I'll have to count. Raleigh. Where do we go next? Portland, Minneapolis, Orlando.
Yep.
TEDCon at home, Cincinnati, Phoenix. 8 or 9. This might be 9.
You get any? Yeah.
Down in my home state now.
I think I'm at 6.
You're welcome.
So
yeah. Yours was Orlando, wasn't it?
Yeah, Orlando was my first. Yep.
Nerd.
And I've been on the board ever since.
In your little mascot costume of a shark. I remember.
I still have it.
I want to say I was thinking, who's this weirdo? But I was like, oh, this guy's great. Go for it. Yes. Get into character. Do it.
A weirdo.
He's a mascot.
I married him.
She knew what she was getting into.
I saw a person on a motorized scooter scooting by the college today in a sloth costume. And there's no sloth mascot as far as I know. I think it just maybe could be their pajamas, but it was the full head that a mascot would have. And I'm like, oh, let's take a picture of that. Brock would love it. But they were moving too fast and we were in traffic. So, but I thought of you. Yeah. That's what counts.
You should have yelled, Dash.
So So, but anyway, so setting your partner up for success, because most of us that are our listeners, whatever, are leaving, and we have a lot of stuff that we do at home. I mean,
Right.
some of us do the majority, some of us do practically all of it, but whatever amount we do, when we leave, there's a vacuum.
Right. And we have a lot of first timers that always come in to, like, if it's Facebook group in the past and now Discord server where we have everybody stationed at for being able to talk about going to the convention. And this year, we have that first timers channel, and there are a lot of guys in there going, hey, what do I do about this? How does this work? Like, just lots of questions. And that was sort of what preempted this, like, okay, we really should do another, how do you set up your partner for success? So hopefully the guys will, learn some things, and it'll also open up maybe some more questions that we didn't answer.
I want to say before we get in,
go ahead.
Well, before we get into the tips and tricks, and I'm definitely looking forward to those, and I have a few like some myself, but I want to say that the biggest thing that I hope all of the at-home dads can take from this is it's so validating of what we do every day, because a lot of what we run into in this job, because of the isolation and just I don't even still know what I'm doing. A lot of times I'm making a pretty good guess, an educated guess, but I'm guessing, and I'm hoping that the stuff I did was right. And you're looking at it on a day-to-day basis where you don't have that paycheck that makes the value, which for most of us, that's how we rated everything. Well, how much money does it pay? Well, that's valuable work, right? So it's a completely different sort of investment, and a completely different than vindication you get. And I've said this in the past, and I'll say it again. A slight part of me somewhere hopes that when I leave, my wife is completely unable to handle everything, and it just falls apart halfway through. And I come back and there's dirty clothes and dishes everywhere and 700 pizza boxes. And, we had to DoorDash some toilet paper and paper towels in or something. I mean, I don't want that for my wife. And unfortunately I won't get it because she is very competent, but I'd have a moment of, yes, see, this is why I'm so important, But I really don't expect it to. And that's part of what we're doing now, because you don't want your partner to go through that. You don't want your partner to have to deal with a lot of the problems. You want it to be smooth.
Well, and you don't want to deal with it at HomeDadCon and text messages and phone calls of franticness.
Let's talk about that for a moment, because
sure,
his first one was Orlando, and he also went to another convention.
I went to Dad 2.0 prior to that.
And being the breadwinning mother and having him leave, gosh, our kids were how old?
That was a while ago.
They were toddlers, and I had to take off work and just completely thrown off of the schedule. And we were at a different point in our marriage, and baggage comes up, right? So it fell apart
fast,
very fast for me as he was gone. And just, I'm going to say it this way because I don't know another way to say it, but there was just felt like a lot of warfare at home around my mind, my spirit, my capabilities to be a good mother and a supportive spouse, and to be able to give him the space that he needed to be successful and get what he had gone to receive. And I'm calling him in tears and just this is falling apart and this is falling apart and I can't handle this and this and this. And it was horrible. I'm not gonna lie. But from that, we learned a whole lot and what we needed to do, communicate, how we had to set up the different aspects of him being gone, what I needed, the trust level and the communication, the conversations that we had to have so that both of us could enjoy the time and that our kids could enjoy the time as well.
Yes. Well, and it came with a lot of baggage too. Like she said, she had a lot of baggage just from her past
and your past
and my past too. But just those kind of things creep up when you don't expect it, and working through them and trying to figure them out. So I remember she called a couple times, and after every phone call, Joe was like, "Is she okay?" Like Joe Saladino and I were hanging out all the time. And I'm like, "Yeah, she's fine. Like she's just working through stuff." Like it didn't really razzle me at all. It was more like, okay, like what can I do to, just be able to talk with her and calm her down, or give her the ability to just speak her mind and get things, out there and out of her head type of deal. And by the time that, the end of the weekend had happened, like yes,
lots of time you were coming back.
Lots of phone calls had happened, but still, like we were in a much better place. And, it's like I said, like she was saying, it's gotten better every year since then. So,
yeah. And that's the experience, I think, is getting used to it. Okay, well, this is what's going to happen. That first time, you really don't have any idea, and I guarantee if I tried to do Marnie's job for a week, I'd run that company into the ground. I mean, there would be nothing left of it. And she would come and go, "What? Why would you do the TPA reports like this or whatever?" And I'd be like, it's just what it looked like it should be done. I don't know. Because of that lack of experience, and the lack of just being in it day to day. And we're very much in the trenches on a daily basis, but it gives us that experience where, I was talking with another dad earlier, and I'm like, if I picked up if I was holding somebody's baby and they barfed on me, I won't even notice. And it's like, oh yeah, give me a burp cloth, we'll take care of that, And even if a 9-year-old came up and go, "I don't feel good," and threw up on me, I'd be like, yeah, that happens. Whereas before I had kids, no, poop. I don't even say the word poop, much less like clean it off someone. Nah, I mean, I'd clean diapers, really. I'd change diapers, but realistically, I don't have anything to do with that. And it kind of squicked me. I was like, oh, okay. But then the experience changes you. And I think it's the same thing with when you leave your partner for whatever reason, especially if you're going for 3, 4, 5, 7 days, whatever it might be, you really have to give them as much help and support as you can ahead of time. And then the other thing that I think is very important that you both mentioned was that communication. Even if it is a phone call and you're in tears or you're upset or you're angry, even, it's still, I need to tell you what's going on with me, and I need you, because you're my partner, I need you to respond in a loving, selfless way, So it's very important, and we've talked about this a whole lot, is the communication, that open, honest communication.
And sometimes you don't respond in that loving and open and receiving way. And that's okay too, as long as you don't stay there. You move past it and come back together and apologize and work through it.
Yeah. Some things that are like high points of notoriety for going to the convention that I try to do, that I think a lot of dads should probably consider, are: one, make sure you got, if you're somebody who's got a menu type of deal, that you have the food at the house, so that your partner doesn't have to go grocery shopping. with the goblins in tow, if just help with the stress level on that one.
And menu planning.
Menu planning is a big one, just to give ideas of food if it's something where you're the primary person cooking, okay, here, this is where I get these recipes from, or whatever it is. Or maybe even sit down and try to figure out okay, what things do you want to try to make? And then also too, have the flexibility of shit got real today, I'm not going to be able to do this, all right, like you said, it's pizza, here it comes, kind of deal. And we have
we have 2 frozen pizzas, and it's just for this moment, or whatever frozen thing. It used to be too that you'd freeze meals, oh, well, I'm going to make meals ahead of time. There's no way I can make meals ahead of time. I don't have the space, I mean, there's just not enough, and there's too many people eating. I mean, I've got basically 4 adults that we're feeding, and then the 2 other kids. But having, like you said, that understanding, okay, well, this is what we think will happen, it's Taco Tuesday, so we had tacos tonight. Did we have tacos every Tuesday? No, we didn't. Some Tuesdays I'm like, no, make a sandwich. Have a cereal is a perfectly acceptable dinner in my opinion.
Especially now since it's also become canon and Bluey.
Guys, yeah, that's great.
There's a whole episode where they're like, "Can we have cereal?" And they're like, "No." And then they do a thing, and they're like, "What's for dinner?" And they had already done something like cereal.
Cereal, it's perfect. But yeah, but having and in planning as much as you can, and like you said, having the groceries, because man, taking kids grocery shopping is just terrible. I mean, it's just you have to do it sometimes, and that's fine. I have set up for pickup as often as I could, where I told him in advance, I'm coming, I'm going to open the trunk, and you're going to put it in there, and I'm going to leave. And if you hear my kids screaming, we're going to ignore that. That's just how it is some days, you know. I think too is for meals, for me, what I thought of is, especially if your kids are very young, like if you're dealing with someone that's 3 and under, understanding of when they usually eat, what they will eat, if anything, and their favorite cup. Just whatever cup that's going to be, and it may change every day, but have an understanding. Okay, this is the red cup. When they ask for the red cup, this is what, or the bluey cup. Yes. This is the bluey cup. This is the one that you want, because in that moment, nothing else works. And you know, I used to have cups that I would just hand wash. I would just wash them in the sink. Nothing goes in the dishwasher because I know that kid's going to want it and it's going to be in the dishwasher for 30 minutes or an hour, you know? So having those ready too, the utensils.
The must-have items. So stuffies, blankies, pacifiers. Yes, those are the must communicate where these things are located, where they belong.
Favorite shows
if you don't know them.
Yep.
How to access them and which streaming thing they're on.
Bingo. Great minds think alike. I literally have screen choices shows how to access that show streaming, because I mean I would say probably, I mean honestly at this age my kids will figure it out, but when they were younger, especially if you haven't slept all night because it's your first night with all those children and you have nothing going on, you haven't had a shower in like feels like 8 years. Yeah, well, what show is it? What service is it? I don't know how to find Bluey. What is Bluey on? And in that moment, you don't even think to Google it. You're just gonna cry,
is Bluey?
You know, or that too. Yeah, no idea. No. So great minds think alike. Yes, I love that one. I also put down games. Just things to do. Now we can talk about too about outside activities or whatever, but have things that your kid will normally play with. That's something that you can interact with them. You know, and if it's dancing in the kitchen, that's fine. But something that you can do when that kid is hitting that melting point, or when your plans change, you were going to go to the playground, suddenly it's raining and now you're stuck inside, and your kid needs to be distracted immediately, or they'll start crying and pitching a fit about not going to the playground. You know, so that immediate redirect into a game of some kind.
I try to, number one, plan pay time off if I have it available, because I know that solo parenting, it's not single parenting because I'm not losing my partner, but solo parenting is more exhausting and I need to recover. And it's a little bit of time for me to just do something during the day while my two are at school. So I have that luxury. But I try to plan something fun for us to do, the three of us, while he's away. So it's a little bit special for us too, even though he's not here. And it's not as, it gives us something to look forward to in addition to him being gone.
Coming home.
I mean, yes. And when you get home too. It could be as simple as going out to eat or taking them to a different park that we haven't been to in a long time, going to see friends that we haven't seen in a bit, just something different outside of our normal routine, because I'm going to need that just as much as they're going to need that.
Yeah.
Making sure that I'm taking care of my needs as well as the kids and saying, hey, this is not normal for dad to be gone. Let's figure out how it works.
I thought of the zoo. The zoo was my idea, because we didn't really go to the zoo often because it's It could, well, for ours, it was a distance too, but it was also kind of money that we, do we want to put that into a zoo? Or are they going to remember it? But they will definitely remember that one-on-one, basically. I know it's 2-on-1 for you, but that one-on-one time that you got. Oh, remember, Mom took me to the zoo. That was so cool. I don't know, we took a penny and smashed it flat, and it has the zoo on it now, or whatever. But something that's just very silly and maybe not that much expensive, but kids spell love time, and having that time that you can take, because this is an opportunity, like you're looking at it as an opportunity to spend a little more time with them one-on-one ish. That's great.
Well, so we have on the list here, she wrote down schedule reminders. So, things like, this is the time to go pick up the kids, like, because if you're the one that's doing carpool or whatever, or, these are the times that my kid does XYZ thing, if they're younger, maybe even too. Yeah, that kind of stuff. So, because I mean, those are schedules that the the parent that is working full time isn't gonna maybe know all of those ins and outs all the way, or so it's a good refresher. The other thing too is to print out the conference schedule and have that, or send it to them. There's the email that'll come that'll have all that information in it here pretty soon, I would imagine. So just forwarding that to them and saying, hey, here's the conference schedule. This is what's going on. This is when I'm occupied. This is when I've got some free time, that kind of deal. And
Mama, can we call Dad?
There's you get that from time to time. It is not uncommon to see a bunch of dads on their phones at like 6, 7 o'clock in the evening, all on FaceTime. You got all these other dads who are like coming around and like, here, like, show you my dad, like all that kind of stuff, which I think is one of the most like hilarious times of the conference for me, to like you just see these dads walking around FaceTiming their kids. And
maybe that's a moment you should
and show
plan into the programming. Call your kid moment.
Call the kid.
Call your kid. That we've talked about that, having that wellness space, that time built into the programming, where you have, I need to take a break. And just understanding that's how people get, because there's a lot going on, especially for first timers and introverts, and it's just overwhelming. And part of that, I think, would be great. Like, well, okay, it's about 5 o'clock and we're on this coast, whatever. This is the time that we scheduled, because in Phoenix it was hilarious, because it was about 5 o'clock, 5 to 5:30. I saw 4 or 5 dads on their phones, and their kids like, why is it so bright there? It's dark here. It's nighttime. What's going on? And you can tell a kid this is different a million times, and they're not really going to get it until they look and like, why is the sun shining? That is so weird, But it was great too, because they were still taking care of that and planning that. Like you said, scheduling, understanding this is the schedule of the conference, but Friday night, I've got this and this going on, but at this time, I would love to get on with the kids. And also, honestly, I would love to be on the phone with you, or, my partner, and to, just make that connection again, because we're doing this for those people that we're leaving at home.
So
we need to make sure to maintain that contact.
I tend to text Corie at night a lot of times, because there's just so much going on. I'll text her like, good night, or how's your day gone, that kind of thing. So it's very minimal that point, but usually in the morning is when I actually call. And also too, I'll take a picture of like what I'm wearing and like send it to her.
Figure this out. We really had to find the rhythm and have a conversation of like, hey, what are you doing after the planned activities? How late are you going to be up? What time zone are you going to be in? Because I don't know. Like, your midnight looks a whole lot different than my midnight. And is it feasible for us to have a phone conversation before I go to bed? Because I would like to talk to him before I go to bed, but that's not always possible. And so having a conversation about the communication expectations is huge. That way you're not disappointed when someone doesn't meet an unspoken expectation.
Bingo.
There it is.
I've done that a lot with Marnie in our 20 years together, because again, different ways to communicate. and she would be on a trip and she would not ever message me. And she doesn't phone call. She does not use the phone unless she absolutely has to. She won't like even order a pizza. No. If I can't do it online or something, I'm not doing it. She just doesn't like being on the phone. So me, obviously, big talker, love using the phone. But having that understanding because you talked about it, again, the communication. Hey, well, this is where we're going to be, and this is what I'd like from you. I understand you're going to be busy. I know you'll probably be tired. I know you'll have a lot of stuff going on, but maybe, Friday morning, whatever. If you could, or what I do a lot, because Marnie does love texting and messaging and such, is I often send her pictures of PowerPoints, or pictures of the area that I'm in, places that I see, did you know that the Capitol building looks like this or whatever? And being able to show those things to her, and then she can take the time to respond when she has the time to respond, whether she's working or just handling the kids or whatever else. Now, I'm talking for us, both of our families, we have kids in school.
Yeah.
And during the convention, the kids will, at least here, I'm sure that I'm thinking too, will be in school.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yep.
So my thought, and this was, I have to find a way to do it that I'm not just giving Marnie the list I'd give a babysitter.
Yep.
But it's kind of that same thing. So I put down the school, because 4 kids, 3 different schools, we need to know where everybody is. The number for it, of course, the contact person that we generally deal with, if there is anybody, their teacher's name, their classroom number or whatever, and then doctors and dentists. And hopefully they won't need a doctor. Please don't need a dentist, because that's something bad happened.
Yeah, right. No
But
kidding.
they need to know. And I'm sure that most partners can figure that out. If they have the time and they don't have a kid crying in front of them.
When there is an emergency, I don't want to search through whatever phone and, oh my gosh, my kid is in pain and needs emergency attention. Yep. Holy cow, what do? I don't have my partner to rely on in this crazy situation. Oh, fantastic. Like, left me a list. Bless you.
It's right here. It's listed right here. Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Take a picture of the list and text it to them. It's easy. And yes, I fully agree with that, Danny. And know your partner, know how to communicate that well, and just in a very loving manner, and say, hey, I don't think you'll need this. I know that you'll do fantastically, wonderfully without me, but I wanted to make things easy for you in case there's an emergency.
Good way to put it. Good way to put it. Because you do respect their competence in saying that. I just wanted to make it easier for you, because you're doing now 2 jobs. You're doing what you do all day regularly, and then you're having to do what I do all day regularly. I want to help you as much as I can. Yeah. So again, setting up to succeed.
Another thing that is in the fact, especially in the realm of respect and stuff, is talking about the budget that you're gonna have for being away. If that's, I feel like it was always a big topic, anyways. Just in our groups of stay-at-home dads in general, there's all kinds of conversations around like how money works as far as joint accounts or separate accounts or whatever. But the idea of, okay, like, what is it that you're going to do? Like, what kind of things do you have planned to do? So like, for me, for this year, it's like, all right, like I'm driving to the convention. Okay, so gas is and toll roads are another part of it. And then there is, things like going out to eat, any of the extracurricular things that are going on, and
he's going early
and going, but it's, the hotel costs that you're going to pay, like that kind of stuff, so that and he's going early too. So, but it's,
I would leave on Sunday before. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I would too if I.
Yes,
it's 2 hours
before.
it's 2 hours for me. I told Marnie, I said, I don't see any reason why I should be here all that week.
Danny's just going to go take a tent and set it up at the nearest park
week. And I'm like, why do you need me here? She would not fall for it, but yeah.
Danny, you're going to go take a tent and just like put it in the park for like those couple days before you get in the hotel.
Right. Do what you got to do. but the little extracurricular things too is a big part of it, because we do have a lot of activities that don't have anything to do with the convention or the convention cost. And I mean, there's a ton of free stuff that you can do. There's like, if it's like board game night or the beer share or so many other things but a lot of times, especially when we're on what feels like a vacation for ourselves, you want a little bit of play money. And if it's that, if that's $10 or $100, I know for me, if Marnie was doing it, my partner's out there and doing her thing, I would say, take as much money as you want, enjoy yourself, soak up that time. And the reality of it is, for most of us, this is the only time we get off, because we don't get off holidays. We definitely don't get off sick days. That's actually more work. We don't get off any of the time that most, like the weekend. I hate Fridays. It's because Fridays just means, okay, we're ramping up for the next 2 really, really busy days. And then Monday I can take a break, So it's that understanding. This is your one chance a year.
Yeah.
And I know some of our dads will save up the entire year.
Oh yeah, they'll squirrel away,
side hustle, things like that. Just putting a little bit away the whole year long, and then you get there and you're like, I really do want, I don't know, what kind of things, but I want to go play D&D at Gary Gygax's house. Well, that's not free. That's an event. So you need to have that money, available.
I wanted to buy a specific souvenir at Lambeau Field or Wrigley Field, because that kind of thing, or maybe there's a special bobblehead t-shirt. Oh, that's just me. Sorry.
How to
bobblehead
guarantee
museum.
You will never go to HomeDadCon again. Get a new tattoo without approval.
Approval.
Approval. Spend way too much money on the credit card.
I don't usually take a credit card if I don't have to.
How many tattoos you got, Brock? What's going on? So we
get overly intoxicated and end up in jail.
No,
Get yourself in the emergency room for any reason.
If I ended up in jail, my wife would absolutely make me go every year from then on, just to see if I was dumb enough to do it again. Because she would like, "You're where? Oh, that's cool. I'm going to come get the Suburban, and you find a way home."
Yeah, I will.
No, she wouldn't do that.
The nice part, though, is that especially that last one is very unlikely to happen,
it's not gonna happen,
because there are so many guys that are like true friends that are not going to let you get to that level and watch out for you, that kind of deal. So
I say this
challenge accepted.
Oh my God. Calm down, Barney.
I say this all in jest, but because I trust my husband and love him very much. But there's a little bit of seriousness to it. Like, have a conversation about the budget and expectations, and
yes,
it is important, because as much as our partners want you to have fun, damn, we work hard for that money.
Yeah. Well, and to be totally serious for just a moment, it won't last, I promise. When we go to this is a career development convention conference. We're going there to learn how to be a better dad, how to be a better husband, and honestly, to be a better person in many ways. We're learning not only, the more mental health, emotional things like, imposter syndrome. We talked about that already, and things of that nature that go along with this very demanding job, but also the simple things that no one ever taught you. Like, we've done braiding hair. I've always loved coming back to that one. I hope we can do that again. Sewing is one we're doing this year. Things that, sewing, you could get a sewing class anywhere, probably. That's true. But you going to the conference and sitting around with a bunch of other dads, you're much more comfortable. And you're also building that community around yourself that, as the unicorns that we are, we really need to be able to rely on it. So it's really, I don't think I've seen, any convention you name, I bet I could name maybe 2 people who are even drunk, and it happens, but that's not why we're there. We're not going to excesses. We're going to build those friendships and community, and to be better at what we do, So nobody probably goes to jail. I don't
No.
think that's going to happen.
No,
I will get a tattoo.
Again.
I am getting a tattoo though. I do. It was funny because you mentioned that, but
Oh, you're getting one up there?
yeah, I probably am.
Hey,
Aaron Smith and I talked about it in Phoenix, and our connection, him and I, is Munchkin and the game. And he said last year, he's like, or in Phoenix, he said, you know, I want to get one, and we could be like some kind of dad thing and some kind of Munchkin thing. And I'm like, that's a great idea. And we pretty much, I think we both have ADHD, so we both kind of went, that's a great idea, but didn't actually plan what we want or what we're going to do. So we're working on that now. But yeah, but we're going to do that while we're there.
Pre-planned thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a spur
don't
of
come
moment,
on. Don't come home with an anchor on your face. I get it. Yeah, I get it. But that too comes down to communication.
Yes.
Again, you know, yes. if you want a tattoo, that's something that you should probably talk with your partner about. It just, you know, I don't like the word you used, approval. That's I'm not looking for approval.
That was just.
But yeah, but it's that understanding of
you can have it.
You know,
I don't care. It's more of a like, don't blow up the finances situation than anything.
Yeah, don't
else.
go crazy.
Yeah,
just don't go crazy.
Don't go crazy. Yeah. I do want to say on the serious note that HomeDadCon, as Brock's partner, I am very thankful for, because without this convention, this community, he would not be as successful as he has been as a father, as a spouse, and now he's a full-time working partner as well as a parent. And part of the reason why he was able to get this job is because of his regular attendance at HomeDadCon and just building up those skills and including them in his resume, because you don't have a full working resume that an employer is going to take seriously all the time because you're not a paid employee. When we made the decision for him to be an at-home parent, I know the one thing that I said is, as you are involved in different things, you need to keep a list, because you will go back to the workforce. It's just a matter of time. And when our kids are both in school, you need to be prepared to show whoever what you've been doing, because it's not a waste of time.
Well, the nice part was that was a HomeDadCon breakout session a few years back. So that helped out too.
Exactly. So from the very beginning of this adventure, we looked at HomeDadCon as just what you said, Danny. This is a career development convention, and it is worth the investment. It is worth the time. It is worth the complete angst of the first round of holy hell, it fell apart and I was a hot damn mess. We are in a much better place financially, as a family, and I can't say enough good things about the convention and this community. And I do jest a lot, but it's all in fun, and I see the value.
All the board members are scared of her.
I don't know. Listen,
except for Danny. Danny's that's because you have regular interaction with her. But Matt String was all like, "I'm scared of her." I loved it.
You just can't have him as another board member any longer.
She's pulling
his time is valuable, and I want it.
That's fine. We have tons of people trying to take his spot.
Good.
So
we do. Yeah, that's a whole nother.
We actually do.
That's a whole nother topic. Yeah, there's like seven different nominees for this year for the board.
Wonderful. Any one of them will be
spots. 3 spots.
For 3 spots. Yeah.
Good.
7 nominees. Yeah, it's gonna be. I mean, we've never. Oh, I shouldn't say never. In the time that I've been going, we've never had that many.
We didn't have that many when I was up for nomination. So yeah.
In part of the conversation and preparation piece, the one thing we haven't mentioned is travel and the years that you've flown.
Yeah.
It is important to understand what that looks like, what flights you're on, when they're leaving, when you're coming back. Am I picking you up? Are you getting a ride home? Like, what does all of that look like? How can I support you there?
Being flexible in like delays of all kinds.
Oh crap, my plane got
canceled.
I have to now
Rent
rent
a-
a car and drive to Indy to get a different flight.
so that I
Yep.
can make it to Florida to go on a kayaking trip the next morning.
Holy smokes, don't you dare get pulled over by the police and get a ticket. Hey, I just made it to the gate. Cool.
Oh my God.
Yay, that's fantastic. Now I can breathe.
Yes.
The
Yeah,
other thing
all that.
too is the Dadmobile. Every time, even if I've flown, I've got to take something down to the airport. Now, fortunately, we've talked about before, Marnie's got a Prius and it's amazing, but leaving her my vehicle.
Yeah.
And granted, we talked about Bluey twice already, but this is the third time. The back of his van looked exactly like the back of my van all the time. It's just crap everywhere. Cheerios and crayons and toys and and somewhere, a spoiled cup of milk that I could never find. But having that one, try to get it a little cleaned up.
Yeah.
But that for me, my vehicle has always been very personal for me. No matter what vehicle it was just, that's mine. That's the thing I have. I take, care of it. I set it up like this. I do it this way. I've got my, whatever the way the seat is
Radio
fixed or anything.
presets.
Radio presets. Just don't do anything. Just leave it like it is, right? And it's very difficult when you're using someone else's vehicle, especially if you're getting kids in it, to kind of, you need to make it your own.
Are you bringing the Prius?
No, I'm bringing the
Ah.
Suburban.
Man, I was really hoping you were bringing the Prius because I was gonna be like, we could totally do like the old like 90s shot where it's like the two cars in a V with the front,
He's taking
left and
our
right
Prius.
corners and like sit, leaning on the hood with
You're
our
such a dork.
cargo shorts and everything, that kind of cool.
Yeah.
That could have been an awesome like cover for season 4 of the Home Dad Chat.
I don't know, man. My Suburban's pretty. It's
Yeah.
I'm very proud of it. I'm very proud of it. But I know I might still, because we're still going to work it out. But I'm looking at the time when I just made the decision earlier, was that we had a potential that we needed people to take people to play D&D, because that's not in Milwaukee. It's a distance off.
Right.
So
Yeah, you
I'm
need
like,
the
well,
space.
Bring
Yeah.
the Suburban and I can fit, I don't know, 2, 4, 5 other people in there. But
Easily.
we got way too many people going, and so we had to get a 15-passenger van. So we're not going to need the Suburban. So I might.
You need the Prius.
Who knows? If you do, that's
Yeah.
definitely a picture we got to get
And-
for sure.
Parking in the city, way better
Yeah.
with the Prius.
Yep.
Way
Zipping
better.
back and forth to the airport if we need to pick
Yep.
people, way better in the Prius. So we'll
Gas
see.
mileage.
We'll see. Dude, let's find a place and have Milwaukee in the background, and you and me. Sure, let's do it.
Let's do it.
I
No
will.
matter what.
I will talk. I got to wait and see if I. But I'm. I don't think I have to take the Suburban. I think it's just pride. I just want to show everyone this is my Dadmobile. It carries all my babies. So
It does. And friends. Something other for people with younger kids that may be necessary is a different support person. So I know that families can live near families. We don't have that situation here in Ohio. But a grandparent, if they're going to step in and help out with running kids back and forth to daycare or school,
Or a friend.
or friends, babysitters, like whoever that extra support person is that you're going to arrange to make sure that communication is set up appropriately, because you just don't know. And not everyone, like myself, has the availability to take paid time off from work. And so partners may still have to work while the dads are in Milwaukee.
Well, the other thing that I always try to do too is I'll reach out to a couple of her friends and just say, hey, I'm going to be out of town. And if you have the opportunity to do so, either call or text and just say, hey, and, if you have the ability to, maybe try to set up an evening where
I'm such an introvert, though.
you can hang out. Yeah, but still, though, I mean, you've got Nikki who you can call and talk to for hours on the phone, like your 2 high school kids.
Yay,
John,
I'm glad you have that.
yeah. Or
It's
very
there's
valuable.
or there's Natalie who can come over and just hang out, that kind of deal. Like, it's very specific people who I know are like part of her support system that I can just be
Mhm.
like, hey, like I'm out of town, you know the drill, like especially with them, like it's been, you know, years in the making type of deal where all I have to do is say, hey, I'm going to HomeDadCon, and they're like, oh, when? And
Or, you know, for the people who don't have family in town, the friends who are close, let them know that, you know, your spouse is going to be out of town, and Lord forbid there's an emergency and you need somebody else to take the spare kids while you take the one kid to the emergency room, or
oh yeah, because there was that was actually that was the retreat. Yeah.
I
there was
I
one
don't
time at a board retreat where she had to
yeah,
take one of
I
the
had to
kids to
take
the
both the
doctor,
kids
but she had to take them both.
the
Mhm.
urgent care, and was like, yay, this is fun.
Mhm.
So
Cool.
it
I
does
packed
happen.
for the longest time when my kids were younger. I don't do it anymore, but I had basically what I would call a bug out bag for, like, I think it was Minneapolis. I was when I first did it, but it was just a backpack set by the door that had snacks, coloring books, and a bottle of water. You know, and it was just that if you're running out the door and everything is hitting the fan, take this with you, because when you're sitting in the ER and your one kid is just miserable and the other kid is just bored, you
Yes.
here's a snack, here's a granola bar, here's something, you know, just to keep your mind from getting too hungry or getting your stomach getting too hungry, and here's a coloring book, just the, you know, a little emergency thing.
Spare
And diapers.
phone charging cord. Put
Mhm.
that in that backpack. It's worth
Mhm.
the $5 investment.
Every
Yeah.
time. Yep.
That's what I was gonna. Oh, that was the other thing I was going to mention to the as a packing item for dads is to, if you have the ability to take like one of those external battery packs, to definitely keep that with you, because you might not have a wall plug nearby, but at least that way you can plug your phone in and it ain't gonna die. I
Mhm.
I can count on both hands, and then from there I kind of lose count. But there definitely been lots of dads who are like, my phone's dying. That I'm
Mhm.
just like, I luckily have like usually a couple battery packs. I'm like, here, plug it in, type of deal. Because
Same. Yep.
yeah, it's you know, it's just don't, you know, don't leave home with the things that are gonna, you know, put you in a pickle real quick. So
Mhm. And
I think
then mhm.
the last thing that's on my thought of two things: medications,
Mhm.
or if you've got a kiddo with special needs, those tend to add extra stress. And pay attention. Make sure that
Mhm.
your partner is really set up for success with those things. We're blessed and we don't have that uh, requirement, but it's hard enough being a parent with two fully functional children. It's even harder when special needs gets added on top of that. So just take a little bit of extra time now to start writing out a list. You've got
Mhm.
how many days? 50 something.
58 right now from today.
Think through it now before you're even packing, and think through what that schedule would look like for your spouse or partner. And then if you want to go just a little bit above and beyond, you could think about something special to do for them before you leave. Whether that's
Mhm.
write them a little note of an encouragement and leave it on their pillow before you leave, or get them their favorite dessert and stick it in the fridge, or bottle of wine, or just something to say thank you for stepping up and taking on this responsibility so that you can step away, because it's a lot of extra on one person. And it's the same way if I leave. It's not, it goes both ways. Like, I would want to do the same for him, and make sure that he is successful. Show your appreciation is what I'm trying to say
Mhm.
there. And whether that's on the front end or the back end or both, it goes a long way.
Giggity. Last but not least, where do you keep the cleaning supplies,
Oh,
towels, snacks, and
Toilet
toilet
paper.
paper?
Yep.
Yeah.
yes.
I thought
It's
that was
legend.
I remember
It's
my first home dad con walking up to, and I won't call out who this dad was, but it
yeah,
was
don't.
hilarious.
Yeah.
But I remember him getting off the phone with his wife, and I'm like, "What's up, dude? What happened?" Because this guy, he was just annoyed. And I was like, what happened? He was like, that was my wife. She was asking where the toilet paper was in their house. And I'm like, oh, she didn't know where the toilet paper was? He's like, no, because I stock it all the time. Like, she didn't have to ever worry about it. But apparently they're out.
Yep, that is a man that is doing all the work. I mean, doing all the work. And I have to say, enable your kids, and let's say even your 43-year-old kid, to solve their own problems by taking them by hand and saying, that's where the toilet paper is, woman. Don't leave an empty roll. No, I've never done that. I've just thought about doing it.
Put gasoline in the car if that's something that you normally do. Because hey, I can pump my own gas. I can buy my own gas. I grew up on a farm. I'm fully capable. I don't do it often because he's normally the one that does it. And it's just nice to not have to worry about it.
And that's, I think, the gist of it is all just eliminate as many things as we can that our partners will not have to worry about it.
Well, hopefully all of this is good information. I really hope that this is an episode that both the dads going to the convention and their partners listen to, maybe together, or like maybe the dad listens to it and like, oh, like you should listen to this. And because it's just not Danny and Brock talking, like
you get me too.
So hopefully, the information that we've shared is helpful, and also too, maybe it sparks some other questions of things. And that's the part that's nice with Discord, is that, if there is a question, you can always put it in there. I feel like we always tend to get somebody who messages us on Facebook, Eric Schorberg, who while he's listening to the show. Arvis does the same thing as well. He was doing it to me, which I thought was hilarious. But yeah, just hopefully this was good information for everybody.
On a positive note, you get to share all the good things too, back and forth.
Yeah. Like you were saying, the pictures that you like to take.
I send him pictures of the kids, of the dog. I like to mess with him and randomly send things that I'm shopping for, spicy pictures. Just to be like, hey, looking forward to when you're coming home. And absence makes the heart grow fonder a little bit, and it's nice to have that moment of reuniting and being like, yay, you're back. Give me giant hugs and kisses and all the good things. But I like to joke with him and poke and prod, and I also really love when he sends me outfit pictures, because I'm just like, you're pretty sexy.
Now you're getting too much into this. Okay, we got to end this show. This is getting crazy now. Anyway,
I've been fired.
You're fired. So
took the mic away and everything.
I know. I took the mic away from her. She's getting into it. That all to be said.
In that cup?
Water.
Just water. That's all it is. Hey, so when this airs, we're gonna be like about 51-ish days away from the convention. So that's exciting. And honestly, the only other thing we need to talk about in the upcoming episodes is all of those nominees for board members. And Danny and I are going to collect those, and that'll be something that gets put together and brought out to you, so that when it comes time that it gets posted, you have until that time, up until the voting, when it actually opens up, to get your vote in, to do that, and to have time to maybe meet some of those guys prior to, which is important as well. But yeah, that's all I got, man. This was a lot of fun. I always enjoy talking about prep stuff like this for the convention. So we will talk to you all next week, and we will have another HomeDadCon speaker on at that time. And until then, I hope you all have a great week, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Good night, everybody.
I'm a dad, that's what I do.